Alrighty, another day. I'm in the car. It's late, but before I go into the house, I figured I would just do this. Probably easier to do this here because the prop up is much easier than anywhere else. You know, it's funny. I've got equipment that could film this video pretty easily. I've got the webcam, I got the microphone. But there is something simple and easy about just doing the camera filming because it's all in one package, and it's almost like, oh, he intended on it to be a video vlog from his phone, so that's the reason why it sounds like that or looks like that. Whereas if I show up with the microphone and the webcam, is like, well, why does it look like that? Why does he have that webcam versus and that microphone and that combination, and why does it sound like that when it should sound like this? You know what I mean? Expectations is what it is, the name of the game here. So you're in the car, it's fine. It's been a week since I did this last. You know, intended on doing it a couple of times last week, but I was like, I didn't really have a lot to update, and I didn't want to make something without a real purpose besides, you know, needing to make it, which is interesting because that inspiration to be like, or that track to feel like you're forced to make something can create something, and then at least that something can, you know, lead you to make the next thing. So you know, it does promote ultimate creativity, which I appreciate, and at the same time it does, you know, swallow you whole, this whole like responsibility to create, and then all of a sudden like it's no longer fun, and then it's like a punch in punch out situation. Obviously that's the nature of art as a job, as if this is a job. I mean, this is a responsibility on on its most difficult day, and then just an exercise on any other day. But I will say that being forced to make something thing, it does hold some water. During, I don't know, I don't remember the year, it doesn't matter which years. I wrote 400 poems over the course of about 400 days. And I would say 200 of those poems are awful. Would never show them to anyone. And they just exist. And, but more importantly, there's, out of the other 200, there's a handful of them that I still think about. I'm still proud of them. I like the lines. I like the delivery, or the, you know, the trick or the motif that I created. And I know that if I didn't have the outlet for one, and if I didn't have the, you know, stamina is not the first word that comes to mind when you describe this, but if I didn't have like the stamina, if I didn't have the poems before that, I don't know if I would have gotten there. So there's something to be said about that whole like pushing yourself to create something even when you think you have nothing, because you probably don't have anything, but it'll probably get you to the next thing. I mean, that was then. That was a couple years ago at this point, maybe call it 3 years. So it's not like I have since then written a book or done anything as meaningful as write 400 poems. That was a really cool thing, though. I tried to journal a lot after that in different capacities. I journaled for 5 minutes. I set a timer, which was actually interesting. You're probably, I mean, I'll finish up. There's the light. I spent 5 minutes journaling on a notepad, Google Doc, and would post that and then leave it. That was pretty cool as well. I did that for on and off for about a year. And then the final iteration was like, oh, I'll vlog and I'll talk for 5 minutes, hence the 5-minute timer thing in previous vlogs. And that was interesting because you would expect to be almost a one-to-one. The thoughts in my journal were very much just stream of consciousness. Of course, I would stop to edit. I couldn't not stop to edit. It's just for punctuation's sake, or saying like, I don't like the word take here. I'd rather grab or whatever. But with talking, it's such a different way to vlog or a way to journal. Because I don't feel super inspired to talk about my day and the things that are frustrating or interesting or whatever in video or over audio. At least not with this capacity, looking at myself. I feel more entitled, feel more inclined to talk like big ideas, like universal ideas, or human experience things, I guess. Which is interesting that there's a difference there. I don't know if it's just like on a blank piece of paper, you're more inclined to be like, I don't know what to talk about. I'll just like start at hour 0 and just work my way throughout my day until something interesting comes up. Whereas here it's like a conversation, and you never do that in conversation. Sorry, that's not really fair. I don't tend to open conversations like, well, I woke up and then I brushed my teeth and I did my routine that I always do. Anyway, so there's a difference there. Is it meaningful? Is it significant? I don't know. Is it something to even talk about? That doesn't matter. It's already been talked about. And I guess like to, continue the ouroboros of content of themes in these vlogs, the reality of like, what is the purpose of any of it? If it's all for like my own consumption, then that doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter as in, what I say, how I say it, why I say it. Really, it only matters like what I end up doing with it. I would think, maybe not. Whereas the publication of it, now all of a sudden, like the medium matters a ton, how I say it matters a ton. I just, with every day that I think about creating, you know what I think about more than anything? You would think it would be a creativity book. I think about The Handmaid's Tale so much, and how that like lasting book in universe serves as like a artifact, and it becomes like the narrative, and it becomes like the story in universe for how women were treated, or like how politics existed at that time. And I just think that's so compelling. I love that. I love what Atwood does in that book. Obviously the story itself is brilliant and all of that, but just that last chapter just elevates it. Anyway, later.